Hello, I'm Professor Dr. Grace Lees-Maffei, Professor of Design History and Programme Director for D-Heritage, the Professional Doctorate in Heritage at the University of Hertfordshire in the UK. I'm here to introduce and welcome you to the Association of Critical Heritage Studies Conference panel, Design Heritage, Concepts and Contexts. Much of the material we term heritage is designed, from landscapes and buildings to rituals and artefacts. Yet, notwithstanding some shared foundational texts, the communities of heritage and design, heritage studies and design history have too rarely intersected. This panel responds to the research questions of how design and heritage and design history and heritage studies relate, how they differ, and how these fields might be brought together. In so doing, we aim to contribute to understanding of future methods and approaches to critical heritage studies. The panel springs from a project hosted by the University of Hertfordshire's Professional Doctorate in Heritage. The project and the panel involve an international group of heritage researchers. Our approach entails critical analysis of a variety of significant examples of design heritage. These include identification of the various concepts and terms related to heritage at play in different fields and regions, examination of the distinction between tangible and intangible heritages and what these categories mean for design history and design heritage, and interrogation of processes of ownership and belonging and the politics of design and heritage. We value this conference as an opportunity to share our research on design and heritage with the critical heritage studies community. I'll now introduce the speakers. Barbara Wood is a doctoral researcher with the Professional Doctorate in Heritage at the University of Hertfordshire. Her research considers how shifting power and authority affect the structures, objects and landscapes of heritage and the experience of those who engage with it. Identifying previously unrecognised forms of authority operating in the sector, she questions the value or purpose of any concept of authenticity. Barbara's presentation for this panel examines the cultural construction of heritage sites as designed outputs, their changing meanings, the shifting physical and intellectual ownership of heritage material over time, and the factors which provoke or require changes in status and management. Design of the past can be imbued with new meanings across the design life cycle, which may be entirely different from its original purpose. In her presentation for this panel, Constructing and Reconstructing Heritage, Changing Ownership, Changing Meaning, New Identities, Barbara uses the Wellington Monument Project as a case study through which to examine the changing purpose of historic sites. Vanessa Nicholas is a PhD candidate in the Visual Art and Art History Department, School of the Arts, Media, Performance and Design at York University, Canada. Her research concerns 19th century English-Canadian quilts with a special interest in their natural imagery. She is a Joseph Armand Bombardier Canada Graduate Scholar, and she was the 2019 Isabel Bader Fellow in Textile Conservation and Research at the Agnes Etherington Art Centre. In 2016, she earned an Emerging Curator Award from Ontario Association of Art Galleries. She holds an MA History of Art degree from the Courtauld Institute of Art and a BFA degree from Queen's University. The title of Vanessa's presentation for this panel is Bed of Leaves, Design History and Natural Heritage in a Canadian Quilt. Vanessa examines a cotton quilt made by Betsy Adams Dodge, 1829 to 1911, during the last quarter of the 19th century in Mainsville, Ontario, which features 20 pieced maple leaves with appliqué stems. Vanessa shows how analysis of a single quilt or a small group of quilts can enhance our knowledge and understanding of context. In this case, how colonial settlers invested in the idea of natural wilderness as a way of effacing the presence and impact of native peoples on the land. Professor Suchitra Balasubramanian is professor at the School of Design, Ambedkar University, Delhi, India. Her research interests centre on 19th and 20th century craft and design in the Indian subcontinent from historical and sociological perspectives, ranging from the local global contexts of modern design education in India, tracing the flows of ideas and expertise against the backdrop of decolonisation and Cold War diplomacy, to the display of brocade saris of Benares at the National Museum, New Delhi in 2016. Her presentation for our panel is titled Border Ceremonies and the Production of National Heritage. She shows how design often becomes complicit in instances of contested heritage, suggesting that heritage is produced. She uses the example of the memorialisation of the partition of the Indian subcontinent at two sites on the India-Pakistan border, taking in the Partition Museum, a symmetrical flag-lowering ceremony, and designated selfie points. Dr. Jacqueline Naismith is Senior Lecturer, Design Theory and Practice, Nagar Pai Mahutonga School of Design, Massey University, New Zealand. Her paper for this panel is Spectacular Enchantment, the Design and Heritage of the Public Wintergardens at the Auckland Domain. Designed by Gummer and Ford from 1919 to 1931, the Wintergardens are a popular visitor destination enjoyed by locals and tourists. The heritage value of the Wintergardens has been recognised in terms of architectural design, garden and botanical history, education and public leisure, and supported the awarding of a Category 1 Heritage New Zealand listing. Through her analysis of the Wintergardens, Dr. Naismith extends our awareness of cultural colonialism and the ideological relationship between New Zealand and Britain. Finally, we are very grateful for the kind input of Dr. Marta Filipova, Research Associate at the Department of Art History, Masaryk University, Brno, Czech Republic, as discussant for this panel. Dr. Filipova's research focuses on identity construction in the visual arts of modern Central Europe and the relationship between the global and local in art and design. As a member of the CRACE research project, looking at continuity rupture, art and architecture in Central Europe 1918 to 1939, she's responsible for the theme Presenting the State, World Fairs and Exhibitionary Cultures. Thank you.